Hey, what's going on, Envy? How was your week, man? Hopefully all is well. All right, we'll see how many folks we get on tonight. Hopefully the message got out that we switch our live stream date to Monday and not Sunday, and we get some folks out tonight because some folks may still have been thinking it was on a Sunday. What's going on, James? So hopefully people got the message, but if not, I'm sure they will. So hopefully you guys are having a good week. As I said in that other video, Corona is here in the state of Maryland. I mean, of course, it's everywhere worldwide. State of Maryland, United States of America. And we got something on the MCPS website. I work for MC, Montgomery County Public Schools, about staying tuned for possible school closures, and somebody put out, I guess, some fake information on social media about Montgomery County Public Schools being closed, which is not true. They are open. So, hey, what's going on, Jinhan? Yeah, man. So that's where we are with the whole Corona thing. I'm not sure how it's affecting you or where you are, but apparently it's spreading, and there's a decent amount of trepidation about it. But from what I'm understanding, even for folks that have contracted it, outside of the folks that are in that zone where it can be really, really dangerous, those folks are recovering. So, hey, what's going on, Dory? Yeah, man, it's getting out there, Jinhan. It's spreading, and then some places have completely closed their borders. And it was funny because I was in the store the other night, and a lot of people were shopping, I guess, in preparation for it really becoming a widespread big deal. And even at my job, my principal was like, "If you're sick, stay home. So don't come in if you're sick." I mean, which is a good call because you never know what's going on with it. People don't really know if they have it or not, because apparently you can have it and not show symptoms for a while. So, hey, what's going on, John? I agree. I agree with that too, Jinhan. Yeah, this year has been something. It is funny though because this year we have had there's a lot of big films slated to come out. I didn't put it up yet. I need to put it up. I reacted to the trailer for Black Widow that came out. That final trailer is out. I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but it's out and it's good. So definitely looking forward to that. All right, guys. Well, again, welcome everybody. So, two topics really we have on deck today. I do want to talk a little bit about Altered Carbon Season 2. Hopefully, you guys finish that. And then get into some spoiler talk about Hunters. And hopefully, you finish that. And that's on Amazon Prime. And then also to talk a little bit about Christian Bale joining the cast of Thor, Love, and Thunder, which I think is a big deal. I think that's a really, really big deal. And I'm going to share with you why I think that in a second. Yeah, no, you're right, James. A lot of people can't afford to take off of work, man. And I just saw something where the president was talking about putting some things in place, I guess, to help with that or things like that. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I will say that here, if they cancel schools, and at least in Montgomery County, the plan is not to just have kids off of school, but to actually do distance learning. So they would do learning through the computer. So instruction would continue. If they did cancel schools here, so they just wouldn't be sitting at home not learning anything. So that's the whole deal with that. All right. So I'm curious, how many of you guys have finished Altered Carbon? Have you guys finished season 2 of Altered Carbon? I want to share some thoughts on that. And then we'll get into a little bit of Hunters, and then we'll talk some MCU with Love and Thunder. So did you guys, let me just see a hand of folks that finished Alter Carbon Season 2 before we jump in. Because I want to talk primarily what I liked about this season as opposed to season one, and then just some of the differences that I saw with this season as opposed to season one. And one thing that Altered Carbon 2 does really well, and I want to get into that too. So, all right, two of you guys finished it. John, you're still in season one. All right, buddy. Well, this is going to be a bit of spoiler talk for you. So, warning. All right, so let's jump into Altered Carbon season two. So, first of all, let me say that I'm not a big fan of cyberpunk, that whole genre. That's why I'm not a big fan of the Blade Runner series, because I'm not a big fan of that whole genre. So, Altered Carbon season one was okay for me. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I thought the story was it was pretty interesting. I mean, basically, it's a murder mystery, but I thought the whole idea or the concept of sleeves was really interesting, and how your consciousness can really be held in this little disc, and bodies are really exposable or disposable, and it's really about that stack, about that sleeve that's holding your consciousness that can be transferred into any body. So I thought that whole idea. What's going on, James? I thought that whole idea was interesting, but in terms of the overall genre of cyberpunk, I'm just not a big fan of it. One thing that I didn't like so much about season one, and this is just me. I mean, you guys kind of know how I am about this. Was the level of violence? It was super gratuitous. Like, that's not a show that you can sit and watch with your kids. I guess most parents would not sit and watch that with your kids. Maybe you did. I don't know, but I wasn't really feeling that. Now, keep in mind, I'm not someone that's read the book, so I'm someone that's just coming straight from viewing whatever it is that they're showing on Netflix. I haven't read the book, so I don't have the background and all that kind of good stuff. So all of what we saw in season one might have been very much part of the world building from the Altered Carbon books. I have no idea. But to me, it was a bit much. So that was one of the things I didn't like about season one. I did like the storyline in season one. I thought that was pretty interesting, even though at times it was a little bit convoluted. It was a little bit confusing to me. And I kind of felt like if you didn't have the context of what was going on in the books, it was a little bit hard to follow. Kind of like how people felt about The Witcher. They were saying with some of the time jumps and things like that, if you didn't have the context of what went on in the books, you had a hard time following it. So I kind of felt that way about season one. But I did enjoy season one as it went on. It got better, but initially I just wasn't a big fan of it, and I wish that there wasn't a 2-year gap between season one and season two. So those are just kind of some of my thoughts about season one and where I'm coming from. But hopefully that sets us up for me to be able to talk about season two, which I did like a lot better. So the first thing is the big comparison, right, with the difference in actors, because people were worried about Anthony Mackie taking over the role of Kovacs, and what's the guy's name? It's McKinnon or Kennan or something like that. Joe Kinnaman, who played Kovacs in season one, who I thought actually was really good. I really like him in season one. I like Mackie better in season two, but my issue with Kinnaman's character in season one was, again, that whole idea about him being a bit too brooding. I just really wasn't feeling that. I know some people like that. Some people love the fact that that's how his character came across. And then when they compare him now to Mackie's character in season two, who is also playing Kovacs, which is he's a lot more, I guess, feelings based, or a lot more sensitive in terms of being in touch with what's going on around him. So I did like Mackie's character better in season two. I kind of like the focus of the story in season two, even though there were a whole bunch of things going on in season two, a whole bunch of subplots and things like that, stuff going on with Poe. We'll talk about him in a second. But I like how they really dealt with Mackie really pursuing Falcon in season two. And that was really kind of like that, his main goal. So that was the big thing that I really liked about season two. I also liked the execution in season two. I thought that visually, I liked the execution in season two better, even though it was very similar to season one. Thought the fight choreography was better, and I thought that the story was a little bit more powerful in season two. I felt like season one was a little bit slow. That's part of why I had a hard time getting into it. But so those are my thoughts, just like my overall thoughts about it. So, all right, let me jump down and see what you guys are saying in the comments. No, no. Hey, Jerry, you didn't miss much. We just started talking about Altered Carbon, and I was talking about the differences that I saw between season one and two, and how I like season two better. But it seems like the general consensus is that a lot of people like season one better. They felt like it was more true to the nature of the um, Altered Carbon story. And again, I haven't read the book, so I don't know. Hey, what's going on, that guy? So we're talking about we're getting into Altered Carbon. We just been talking about the differences between season one and two. I might see that, James. I hadn't even heard about that. The postcard killings. Yeah, I agree with that too, Jinhan. Like every to me, the fight choreography, Jinhan said he didn't. One thing he didn't like about season one was that the fights were kind of just so shrouded in darkness. It was really hard to see what was going on. Let me see if I'm representing that right. What you said, Jinhan. Yeah, it was just too dark to see. So I think the fight choreography in season one and season two is like worlds of difference. Season two, it's much better. Just the whole look of it is better, and it's also, of course, more expansive in season two. We get to visit different worlds, and the whole kind of universe expands in season two, which I thought was good. But I almost liked everything better about season two. I liked the story better. I thought it was more interesting. I thought the sub stories going on with Poe was really interesting. That AI from the hotel, and how they build him out more in season two. And some people thought that was distracting. Some people thought that detracted from the main story. I didn't think so, though. I thought it was a nice addition because people love that character. So for them to really dive in and to develop him more, I thought was good in season two, as opposed to what they did with him in season one. They did a lot with him in season one, but he really becomes more like self actualized, I guess I would say, in season two. And he kind of reminds me of a Data character to me. Kind of reminds me of that whole notion of exploring what it means to be human, which to me is supremely ironic because he's not. He's an AI, but that whole idea of what it means to be human, what it means to experience yourself as a human being, which again, even like with Data, is always a strange thing to me because they're not human, they're robots. But I get exploring the whole idea of what humanity means. Oh, you felt that way for season two, Jinhan. Okay. See, I thought the fight scenes in season two were better than season one. If I'm understanding you correctly, Jinhan. Sorry about that. Yeah, there was a whole bunch of hate that went on in season two. That guy, man. I'm not even getting into that. I thought season two was good. I thought Mackie did a good job as Kovac. I thought that him coming in and kind of putting his own spin on the character was good, which I think is a hard thing to do because if you have someone that continues to come in as the same character, and who knows if he'll come in, if we'll get Kovac back for season three, if we have a season three. I thought it was good. He was different. He was different than Kinnerman, and he displayed a different type of character. But I think that you almost have to do that if you keep bringing someone in a different sleeve, but they are exactly the same as the character before them, even if they look different. Like, what's the point in that? There needs to be some variance in the character. So I thought Mackie did a really good job, and I know that there was a lot of hate going on around it, but I'm not even whatever, man. I really liked how he did, and he actually said that he wouldn't mind coming back. He said that this was one of the most enjoyable things that he's done in a long time. Said that he can't remember a bad day on set. So he's hoping that if there is a season three, that he can get back. And I don't know how he would do it because technically, at the end of it, he destroys himself. Although there is some speculation that that new program that Poe is running is actually his program. We'll see, but it doesn't matter. If they wanted to bring him back, they could bring him back because there's so many different ways to back up your consciousness. If you do it before your stack gets gets destroyed, they could bring him back if they wanted to. I mean, he said he wouldn't even mind coming back in the original body of or the original sleeve as even a different character outside of Kobach. So he wants to come back. So if they have a season 3, hopefully they can bring him back in. Okay, so MB, well, all right, okay, MB. So you're saying they're not robots. They're artificial intelligence. There's a difference. Okay, fair point, my friend. I also liked what's her name? I've loved her since Luke Cage. Her last name is Missick. I can't remember her. Do I have her up over here? What's her first name? Uh, Something Missick. Simone Missick. I love Simone Missick. I mean, I think she's great. I loved her in Luke Cage. I think she's really good here. I think she just has an on-screen presence that is fantastic. Not to mention the fact that she graduated from our alma mater. She graduated from Howard University. So, but I love her, man. I love her in the show as Trip, a new addition in the show. I love her character. So that was one of the things too that I really liked about Altered Carbon. And this is what I mentioned before. Maybe some of you guys jumped on when we were talking about it. Simone, that's her name, Jerry. Altered Carbon does something really interesting. Now, again, not to go like social justice on everybody, but did you notice the diversity in the cast of Altered Carbon season 2? And at no point in time did it feel like you were force fed this whole idea like we're purposely trying to make this as diverse as possible, see what we're doing, but it just fits so seamlessly into the story. And some other people made that point too, but I thought, see, this is how you do it. This is how you make something where you're telling a story, you're not harping on a point, but you have diversity. You have a multifaceted story that you're telling. I thought they did a really good job of that also. One thing I do hope too, as well, is that we see Simone's character later on, in if we have a season 3, and I'm pretty sure we will have a season 3. So, because I think that this season, rating wise, I don't know what it's doing right now. I'm just gonna look and see. I think it's in Netflix's top 10 right now. So if it continues to do well, I think we're going to have a season 3. Even though, from what I understand, there's no word on the season 3 yet, unless you guys know. Somebody drop it in the comments. But from what I understand, we don't know definitely that we are going to get a season 3. We're probably going to get a season 3. So. I don't know about that, MB. I don't know about her original sleeve. I mean, because this is the first time we've seen her. She's a new addition, and I don't think, unless I missed something, I don't think we saw her in any other sleeve. Even though I know she has a relationship with that other woman, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know about her original sleeve. Yeah, I like that too, Jinhan. I like the fact that it was much more expansive, that they did a lot more world building, if you will, or off world building, you might say. So I did like that. I like the scale of it, which I thought was really cool. And I I like the look and feel of it visually as well. So I don't know, man. Some of what I'm saying is contradictory because I just like season 2 so much better than I did season 1. So I didn't even know they were doing an anime for Altered Carbon. So that's news. Thank you for that, Envy. I had no idea. Apparently, like a lot of shows have a lot of sub things coming out. There's a Witcher movie coming out soon. So I guess while we wait for the second season of that. Yeah, I didn't even know that. That's interesting though. Netflix, boy, I tell you, they are putting out some content for sure. Also wanted to make a comment on the elder races too, on the elder race and how they did that in this show. I don't know. I It was interesting enough because we got more of a picture of what the elder race looks like, and this show to me has is like a compilation of a lot of different things to me. Like you see a lot of different a lot of different elements of a lot of different sci-fi shows within this. Some aliens and a whole bunch of different stuff going on, which I do think they do well. Though they do integrate what you might call tropes, sci-fi tropes, into the show, but they do it well. So I would say hats off to them for that as well. So I did like that part of it too. Again, I'm not a big cyberpunk fan, just of the genre. Period. So I wonder how you guys felt about this, because there was some mention of what people thought about the level of violence, which was not as like this was not nearly as violent as season one. Season one, I was like, oh, but this was not nearly as violent as season one, and I wonder what you guys thought about why they did that. Now, some of the things that I read online about it was that they cut out a lot of things to really broaden the audience, so that more people would watch the show, so they could broaden the kind of the show's fan base. So you see, it's not as violent. Nor do you have a lot of the kind of the over the top, which I would consider over the top sexual content in the show. A lot of that is gone from the show, which to me, I think actually gives the show a little bit more value, because it can focus much more on driving the story. Not that season one didn't do that as well, but it's interesting that they cut a lot of it out of the show. And from what I heard, a lot of that is all of that is in the books, but they cut a lot of it out of the show. So I was wondering what you guys thought about that, why they did that. Why do you think it wasn't as explicit or violent as season one, and how you felt about that? Did you miss it? Did you miss the violence? Did you, did you want to see more of it? Yeah, Javon, it's funny. I would say the sci-fi is it's not my, I mean, you guys already know my favorite genre by far is fantasy, man. Like I love that, especially high fantasy, Lord of the Rings, The Witcher, all that kind of good stuff. That's like right up my alley. And then probably under that would be maybe sci-fi slash superhero content, stuff like that. So all right, you guys. So I want to talk a little bit about Poe's character and what you think, because right now, for most people, Poe's character is the most favorite character on the show, or one that people really enjoy on the show. So I was reading an article talking about the differences with his character between season one and season two. So I wanted to bring that up and talk to you guys about that also. So I do love Poe's character. I've loved him since season one. I think that he's a super fascinating character. As I said, I think that the whole idea behind artificial intelligence or self-actualization, and Envy was just talking about this. All right, hold on. I got a comment. Let me open it up. Show. Okay. Um, all right, hold on. That guy, is answering my question. Like I said, I felt like season two was scrubbed of much violence, sex, nudity, gore, etc. It felt like it was censored a bit. I missed a lot of that. Like that part of the world was toned down too. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think you're right. It was toned down, but people, um, to please critics. So here's the thing. Certainly they did tone a lot of that stuff down. You do not see a lot of the gore, sex, the violence, and all of that. And it may have been to please the critics, but I will say that they may have also done it to really broaden the appeal of the show, because when you look at the ratings for season one, if you look at some stuff like Rotten Tomatoes and stuff like that, whatever you think about Rotten Tomatoes, but they weren't that great. I think on the whole, people enjoyed Altered Carbon, and I think Altered Carbon it's kind of like one of those things that's going to have its classic kind of cyberpunk fan base, but I think that they did it to really broaden the appeal of the show, so that more people can watch the show. And if I'm correct, at least right now, I think it's trending as one of Netflix's top 10 shows. So, you know, I mean, whether you like that or not, whether you think that that was a move that should have happened, whether that bothers you in terms of how much you enjoy the show, I guess is one thing. But I think in terms of just mass appeal, it wasn't a bad move. And for me, it doesn't detract that much from the power of the story. Because I feel like even though they took out some of that stuff, like to me, they ramped up some of the things like the fight scenes and things like that were ramped up. And I felt like I feel like the pacing of it was faster this season too. I feel like season one was it was a little slow to me. So that was an issue too. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts on that. See, so that's an interesting thing. So Envy says that he loves the sci-fi, and that he didn't even really notice the difference in the other elements of the show that were missing. I thought they did a good job of taking some of that out, but also giving us a show that had a whole bunch of power to it. So, I mean, I enjoyed that aspect of it. I also want to know, I'm curious who you guys would like to see come in as the next kind of big star, heavy star of the show. Mackie says he wants to return, but it seems to me that the whole idea is to rotate stars in and out. And is there anybody that you would love to see come in and really star in this series, which I think could really almost be anybody. I know that a lot of our big stars are busy, but you're talking about 8 episodes. So Mackie said they worked on this for 6 months. So man, I'm trying to think like who I would love to see come in, and if not even play a Kovacs character, but somebody else that's really, that's really important. Who I would like to see come in. I can't even think now. I really can't even think. You know who I would love to see? Oh wait, am I getting your view mixed up? I didn't change my view. Okay. Oh geez. Sorry, MB. Well, that's embarrassing. You know what? So I'm sorry about that. Probably because we have the conversation on the channel so dude heavy. So I apologize, my dear. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Michelle Rodriguez either. I really wouldn't. You know who I wouldn't mind seeing? Well, the chances of it happening are probably far to next to none. I wouldn't mind seeing Keanu in this show. Keanu would be great. I think he'd be awesome in this. So, man, I wouldn't mind seeing that. I wouldn't mind seeing Michelle Rodriguez. Um, she'd be good in this too. I would like to see her in this too. So those are some folks that I wouldn't mind seeing rotate in and out. I think that I don't know. I was gonna say I think that the 8 episode seasons are good. I like them. They could do 10. 10. I think 10 would be fine. But I think that this story has a whole bunch of room for expansions. Just basically with the concept that it's all built off of, I think it has a whole bunch of room for expansion. I really hope also that we start to see more alien races introduced. If the elder race is gone, who knows if that's really the case? Because we might see them pop up later on. But we get the idea that they were destroyed. Yeah, I don't know if that's really happening or not, but I wouldn't mind seeing some more alien races introduced into this. But the whole idea to me behind this show, I will say, especially with season 2, is pretty interesting. And the kind of the haves and the have-nots and what you can do if you have it, if you don't. Everybody's tackling that whole concept. But I think that Altered Carbon does a really good job of dealing with the subject matter. So, yeah, man. I mean, I liked season 2. I thought it was good. I thought it was good. I liked Mackie in it. I liked the different look that he brought. I know not everybody loved it. A lot of people wanted to see Cameron back, but I thought that it was good. I really enjoyed it. I thought that was good too, MB. Which totally didn't expect that, but I think that was cool how they brought him into the singer at the very beginning, and then I thought that was a good way for them to transition Mackie into the show instead of Mackie just popping on the scene and next thing you know he's Kovacs. So I thought it was good. It was a good way to introduce him, and also a good way to introduce his character and all the things that his character could do. Like he could do some crazy stuff just because of what that sleeve was able to do. Love the guns, that whole deal, and how he was able just to kind of call the guns to him. That man. So I really like this character, but it was kind of wild seeing the singer at the beginning. But I thought that was a good way to transition into his character and bring him into the show. So now I don't know why. So now seeing him in this is making me more excited for Winter Soldier and Falcon also. All right, you guys. So let's transition and talk a little bit about Hunters. I'm not sure how many of you guys have seen it, but we will get into spoiler talk. We were going to talk about it last week, but we didn't because a lot of you guys had not finished that whole season. I'm curious what you guys think about Hunters. Well, first let me ask the question: how many of you guys have seen Hunters? And if you haven't, we're going to get into some spoiler talk. So careful. So let me just see by way of chat how many people have seen Hunters before we jump into it. And Hunters is crazy. All right. Seen Hunters, not seen it? Give me a yes, give me a no in the chat so I know. Man, these Invisaligns are driving me nuts. I feel like taking them out of my mouth. All right, so Jen Han. Well, I know you've seen it, Jen Han. It's good, Envy. It's good if you haven't seen it. All right, well if you check it out then, and then you can always come back and comment on it a little bit later if you haven't seen it. Oh man, you haven't seen Hunters or Altered Carbon. Okay. Well, they're both worth checking out. Netflix for Altered Carbon, of course, and Amazon Prime for Hunters. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Hunters. Hunters is on. Hunters is on Amazon Prime, and it's good. It's good, and it's a little bit of a different take, and it's got a strange tone to it, but it's good. It's good, and Al Pacino is that's it, not Al Pacino. Man, now I can't even think. Is it Pacino? Am I getting it mixed up with who stars in it? I'm trying to pull it up here. My mouse is acting up. Let me see. I may have been right. Yeah, I was right. It's Al Pacino. So Al Pacino is the main star in it. But if you haven't seen it, then you might want to sign off because we're going to talk some spoilers about it. All right, so here's the whole deal about Hunters. If you haven't seen it, basically it's a show where they are hunting Nazis. The whole premise is set around the fact that at the end of World War I, the U.S. government incorporated a lot of the kind of genius level Nazis into their ranks to help them against their enemies. But once the Nazis got into the government, they kind of started to form the Fourth Reich to try and overthrow what was going on in the U.S. A group of people found out about it, and essentially they are hunting the Nazis, trying to disrupt their plans. That's what the whole show is about in a nutshell. So, Hunters is funny because when it first started out, it was getting pretty good reviews. Now it's sitting at, it looks like a 63 on Rotten Tomatoes. So the reviews have gone down for it some, but that happens on Rotten Tomatoes. So you can't really, you can't really base it on that. But what's wild about Hunters is the whole notion of something like this being true, so to speak. And it's not based on a true story, but they did say that some elements of Hunters is true. But how they go about hunting these folks is really fascinating, and the cast that they have for this is really good too, especially Pacino. And this show has some pretty big twists. So when you're watching it, some things happen in this show that I didn't necessarily see coming until closer to the end of the show, and then I kind of suspected that something else was going on. But one of the things that I really think is fascinating about this is a whole idea of really kind of starting a Fourth Reich, which is kind of crazy. And I think the show is really set in the 70s. I believe it's set in the 70s. So one of the things that, oh man, I'm trying to think. I don't want to really just jump right to that spoiler for it, but one of the things I think is really interesting that happens in this show is Pacino's character. I'm just gonna jump into it and then and just say it. So he, at the end of this series, gets killed, which it's kind of wild to me because I feel like he was the linchpin of this. I feel like he was the one that was really driving how good this show was, even though a lot of the supporting cast were really good in their performances. But they killed him off at the end. And what we find out at the end of this is that he himself was actually a Nazi, not a Jew. So he comes across as a Jew. He comes across as one of the leaders of this group of people that were hunting Nazis that were kind of in the higher up or the higher echelons of the government. But then we find out at the end of this that he himself was actually a Nazi that assumed one of the other Jews that was in the concentration camp, and he ends up getting killed at the end. And to me, that whole thing is fascinating, not because of how he gets killed in the story, but the fact that they killed him off. And now I'm thinking, okay, what are they going to do now? Because he was a major star, probably one of the major draws in the show, and how they're going to keep the show going, I think is interesting. So, okay, hold on. Yeah, there are a lot of twists going on, especially in that season finale of what's going on there. We see another part of that where it looks like at the very end of it, you have a guy that sits down at the table that looks like it could be Adolf Hitler. It's all kinds of just crazy stuff going on. Well, Envy, then you might enjoy this because a lot of what goes on in this show does touch on some things that people might consider conspiracy theories. So you might enjoy it. But the fact that they kill Pacino in this, I think, is interesting. But now I want to see kind of how they build on this story, because now you have this group of Nazi hunters, and you have the lead guy that's gone. There's another actor that kind of picks up his I'm looking for him now because I don't know much about him outside of the show. Logan Lehman. I haven't seen him in many other things. Maybe you guys have, but he also stars in the show, and now he's kind of the head of this Nazi hunting bunch. But it seems like also in this show, you have that core group of people that are hunting Nazis, but a lot of them have their own kind of motivations as well about what's going on. So it seems like there are a lot of other factors going into the Nazi hunting from other people, from other locations. It looks like the group of Nazi hunters, some of them are from different governmental factions in different parts of the world, and they're all kind of coming together to try and quell this threat. But it seems like there are some subplots with them going on as well. So we're not completely sure all of what's going on. So Jen Han was saying my favorite characters are Joe and Sister Harriet. They're both badasses and do what needs to be done. I don't really like the MC character Jonah, to be honest. Yeah, Jonah can really get on your nerves. I think my favorite character probably was I don't know. I don't know who my favorite character was. Man, I can't remember his. So I'm looking at his real name here, which is the Asian character. He was one of my favorite characters too. He at the end, it looks like he might be being recruited to the Nazi side. We'll see what's going on with him, but I can't remember his real name. Let me see if I can pull his real name up. Because I have the cast over here, but I don't have their corresponding character names. Let's see if we can pull him up. Where is it? Okay, so Joe Mizushima, I think is his name in the show, but he's one of my favorite characters in the show too. I really like, yeah, Joe, that's his name. So I really liked him as well. I did like the sister character; she was good also. So, and I thought the villain was good too in the show. And boy, did he make you hate him. that dude really made you not like him. Yeah, that's his name, Jen Han. So Hunters is interesting. So we'll see what happens with Hunters in season 2. And I don't know what we know about if there's going to be a season 2 or not. I have not heard anything, but I'm pretty sure that we will have a season 2 of it, because they're giving it a whole bunch of press. Let's see. Looking it up right now. So they haven't confirmed a season 2 of Hunters yet. So we'll see what happens with that. But I do want to see what they do with the show now that they've killed off the main character, if he's truly dead, which if he's not, I don't see how he couldn't be. But because when you have a star of Pacino, that big of a star in season 1 of the show, and you let him go, it'll be really interesting to see kind of how they fill that gap in season 2 and see what they do with that. But Hunters is good. If you haven't seen it, make sure that you check it out. It is on, again, Amazon Prime, and you will not be disappointed. I mean, the tone of the show does shift a lot. It's kind of all over the place tonally, and some people had some problems with that. We talked a little bit about that last week, but all in all, I think it's a good show. I feel like those are 2 shows that you should really catch if you haven't seen it. We can talk a little bit about Castlevania. I'm not completely done with it, Jinhan, but we can touch on it from what I've seen so far. I've only seen like 2 or 3 episodes of it so far. I also want to touch on Christian Bale joining the cast of Love and Thunder for Thor. But yeah, Hunters is something that I would definitely check out, you guys, if you haven't seen it. Seems like a lot of you guys have not, so we gave you some spoilers. But check it out and see. There's a lot more we could say, but I digress. I'll let you guys go check it out. Let's talk a little bit about Castlevania. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Castlevania, the next season is out. I think it's season 3 of Castlevania. Yep, season 3 of Castlevania is out. I have only seen the first couple of episodes. If you guys have been following the rest of it, of course you guys know that basically Dracula is dead now and things are really in an upheaval, because the folks that are basically were following Dracula or were kind of under him have really gone amok. I have only seen up to season 3 of up to episode 3 of season 3 of Castlevania, so there's not too much I can say about it. Season 3 has not had the same draw though the season 1 and 2 has had. I can say that much about it. I know, Jinhan, you were really looking forward to it. You may have even finished it by now, Jinhan. I'm not sure or not. But I don't know. I mean, well, I guess I'll have to report back to you guys what I think about it. But season 3 has not had the push for me to really like get into it. Like I have some of the other shows that I finished on Netflix. I just finished Key House, which I thought was pretty good, which is interesting to me. Key House is a little reminiscent of, I don't know why to me, but kind of reminiscent of Stranger Things for some reason to me. But yeah, I haven't really seen enough of season 3 to really talk about it. So yeah, so you finished it already. See, I haven't really seen a whole bunch about it. So, it's not a whole bunch I could say unless we talked about older seasons. I am curious to know what they do now that Dracula is gone, and what happens with Belmont and how they develop his character moving forward. But I haven't really seen a whole bunch of it to be able to talk about it, honestly. So that's kind of where I am with Castlevania. I am looking forward to the second season of Kingdom, which should be dropping soon. If you haven't seen that, that's another show that you should check out. That's a zombie show if you're into that. So if you like The Walking Dead, you will love Kingdom, and that is on Netflix as well. You guys can see that. I think the first season has 10 episodes, but it's really good. The story build is good for it. Season 2 is coming out soon. I think we saw the final trailer. I don't think season 2 is out yet for Kingdom on Netflix, but it's good though. Yeah, I know they have a new antagonist on there as well for Castlevania, but so it'll be interesting to see how they deal with that. Now that Dracula is gone, which was the big lore for it, how they deal with that. And I think one of the important things about Castlevania, we'll see as it continues to play out, is how they use the Belmonts for this. So we'll see. Like I said, I haven't seen it enough to really say so. Okay, so I was just looking up to see when season 2 of Kingdom comes out, and I think Jinhan said it comes out on the 13th. That's good. If you haven't seen it, check out Kingdom on Netflix. It's really good. And again, I think Kingdom. I don't know if Kingdom is in Netflix's top 10 or not. Um, I can't remember. I know Altered Carbon was. I know that Key House was. Then there were some other shows. I'm not okay with this, which is strange. I started watching some of that as in the top 10, kind of like a superhero type coming of age type show. Yeah, I don't know. So, um, I haven't really seen again enough of Castlevania. So let's talk about what you guys think about Christian Bale joining the cast of Love and Thunder. There is still some speculation about who he will be. Some people are saying that they think that he will be Mephisto because there was a comment made about him being a character that was on cosmic level. But it does seem to be official that he is going to be joining the cast of Love and Thunder. Let me just double check something real quick. But I will tell you that this is a big deal. Um, I'm just trying to fact check something here. Okay. Yeah, cool. It's something that you definitely should check out, MB. I think if you like that type of thing, you'll enjoy it. Plus, it's always cool when they build something to me off of the game Castlevania. I'm sure you guys remember the game Castlevania. Technically, off of the game Castlevania. Okay. All right. Yeah. So here are my thoughts about Christian Bale joining the cast of Love and Thunder. First of all, I think it's huge. I think that with the addition of him on that cast, the draw for that movie is going to be crazy. And if people had any doubt about how good this movie was going to be, because there was a whole bunch of speculation, well, how good could it be if now Jane Foster or Natalie Portman will be the main character, Thor? Like, what will be the major draw of this movie? Well, the fact that they have added him to the cast, I think probably will make this one of the most sought after or one of the most looked forward to Marvel movies that we're going to see now coming up shortly. Because just his name alone, I think it would be amazing. And I think that I'm not sure what character he'll play. There was a whole bunch of stuff kicked around. Some theories that he might play Beta Ray Bill, some theories that he might play Mephisto. But I will tell you this: he likely in Envy, you're saying something about him playing Beta Ray. He likely will not play Beta Ray Bill. And some other folks made this argument, which I think is a good point. I think that oh, so let me hold on, Jinhan. I saw what you just said popped up. Let me get the start out though. I think that whatever he plays, they're gonna have to show his face. So he most likely, if he plays Mephisto, which I think would be fine, because Mephisto's coming in either one way or the other. Whether we see him come in through Doctor Strange or we see him come in through Thor, one way I believe he's coming into the MCU. But you got to show his face. Like you can't have him in the movie and have him so covered up in makeup or have him so CGI based that no one needs to see him. I mean, part of the lore of him being in this movie is the fact that we see Christian Bale in this movie. So I think that is hugely important. But I think that if he comes in, the contrast that he will bring, especially because people know him as the Dark Knight, and that crossover factor of him being the Dark Knight, then him being in the MCU, I think is going to be a boost for everybody. Whether you're a DC lover or an MC or a Marvel lover, I think just for the films across the board, I think it would be huge, especially if he finds his way back into another DC film. It would just be it'd be crazy. So I think his addition would be huge. I think he is an actor. I think it's tremendous. So I was really excited to hear about this. I think they are. I think they are going to try and cast him as one of Thor's villains in the comics. I think that's what the situation is going to be. I don't think he'll play Beta Ray Bill. I think he probably will play someone like Mephisto. And he made a comment as well about, I think it may have been on Twitter, about one of the character either being cosmic or on the cosmic level or something like that. And I think a villain as well. So I think we might see him as Mephisto. We'll see. You know what? Mephisto is all over the place, Jinhan. I mean, sometimes you see him attached to Ghost Rider. Sometimes you see him attached to Doctor Strange. He's been everywhere. He's been everywhere. He's been in a lot of plots. He's been in a lot of comic covers. So he's everywhere. He's not. I wouldn't necessarily classify him as a specific villain to a specific place, even though you might see him in more places than you do others. But it wouldn't be strange to see him almost anywhere in the MCU. Right, Hitchhiker. Yeah, I mean, he's man. I mean, Bale. This is exciting news. So I was really excited to hear about this. Okay, no problem, MB. No problem. No problem. Yeah, so this was something that I was really looking forward to. Now I'm really looking forward to more so what we're gonna get from. I should just do. Well, no, I already recorded it, so I'll put it up. I was gonna say we should. I should just react to the trailer for Black Widow, but I've already recorded it. I just haven't put it up there. I need to hurry up and put it out there. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Wonder Woman. I'm supremely looking forward to Wonder Woman. I mean, the more I have seen Gal Gadot in that role, I think that she probably could not have been better cast for that role. Like I don't even see anybody else ever playing her. It's almost like Robert Downey Jr. and someone else playing Iron Man. It's hard to see it. I feel that way about Wonder Woman. I feel like nobody can take her place now because she's done just such a fabulous job in that role. So I cannot wait to see her. I cannot wait to see her in Wonder Woman 1984. I'm really looking forward to that. I've gotten a lot of requests, which is interesting, to do a versus video between Wonder Woman and Black Widow, which I will say is a like I don't even know how I would talk about that video. Wonder Woman would destroy Black Widow. Like it's not even a video I think that would really be worth making because we already know what the outcome is for that. But I'm looking forward to both of those movies. All right, there was something else here. Let me see. Let me see. I was going to share with you guys about Love and Thunder. Oh, something smells good. My wife must be cooking something. Hmm. I haven't even. I haven't. Wonder Woman's awesome, MB. Wonder Woman's probably in my top five heroes of just Marvel and DC, especially when it comes to the movies. She is awesome. I haven't even seen that trailer, Jinhan. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I liked Affleck as Batman too. Yeah, I really did. I thought he was great. All right, I'm gonna see if I can find it right now. There it is. All right. Let's see if we can switch to our active content screen and hopefully. All right, guys, hopefully this screen is up like it needs to be. I was doing some adjusting to it. Oh, there we go. All right, let's check this out. Oh. Hey, what's going on, General? Ah.
Once a generation, there is a tournament. Why would I fight for you? Because he will be in attendance. I can send you there, Hanzo. Hanzo is dead. Call me Scorpion. Let Mortal Kombat begin. I will win this tournament.
You gonna keep crying like a bitch or fight like a man?
Oh.
Feed me, Buttercup. You are the only hope left for Earthrealm.
If Emperor Shao Kahn wins the 10th Mortal Kombat tournament,
Then you all die. Get over here. Holy shit. Man, is she hot.
This is crazy.
Goro.
Wow.
Finish him. Mortal Kombat Legends: Scorpion's Revenge.
this thing better not go straight to video.
On digital and Blu-ray.
Man. Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. Man, I'm definitely looking forward to that. I hadn't even seen that. Phew. It looks like it's taken from the original story too. Man, that looked good. That looked good. That looked good. I put that on the list. All right, you guys. So this will be a little bit of a shorter stream tonight. So I'm gonna sign off. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you guys for joining on the new night. I do want to say this. I think the night that came in after this, the best night to stream was on Friday. We lost some folks because they couldn't be here on Monday nights. But this is the best night for me. So I'm glad this was the one that came up highest in the count. But I think that we're gonna possibly try and do a stream on Fridays at times, not always. So that might be something that we can do, and we can pull in more folks. So we're definitely missing Christopher, we're missing Cobra. Not hard to miss because he'd be saying something crazy in the stream. But that might be something that we can do too on Fridays, but I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be on a consistent basis. But so yeah, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. That looked awesome. Next week, we will be back Monday. There will be some videos coming out this week as well. And a lot of you guys know, if you've been here, if you've been around, we're just in the process of kind of changing some things up on the channel. You guys know that. The banner looks different now, and things like that. And again, we moved the live stream too. So thank you guys for just bearing with me through all the changes and all that kind of good stuff. Hey, Javon, we're getting ready to sign off, man. But I'll see you guys next week. Make sure that you guys check your notification boxes, and make sure you check the community tab, because by Wednesday, I'm going to put out what we're going to talk about for the stream on Monday, so you guys have plenty of time to get ready for it. And then just make sure you're on the lookout for videos that are coming out this week. We will be trying to do a versus video at least once a week. I am actually working on one right now. Might be able to actually even show you guys let me see if I still have it up, show you the thumbnail, which I just got finished working on for it. And And so now mostly all the versus videos that have come up now have been by request. So that is the one that we are working on for next week. So that's our versus video for this week. Scarlet Witch against Wonder Woman. Who you got? You guys will see who I think wins this. But that's the next versus video coming out. So be on the lookout for that. You guys, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much as always. And that's it, man. I'll see you guys on the next stream. Peace.